The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, written in 1895 and famous for coining the term time machine and traveling through time via a vehicle, this book is considered an absolute classic. In this video, I won't get into anything too specific, so there won't be any spoilers. First, I'll give a broad overview of the story, and then I'll provide my review. The story takes place in late 19th century of Victorian England. A scientist who just goes by the name Time Traveler builds a time machine in his lab. This book is a retelling of his travels through time, mainly focusing on how he traveled 800,000 years into the future and had his time machine stolen from him. It then follows his adventures as he tries to get his time machine back so he can return to his own time. I really like how, even though you know he's going to get back, otherwise, how would he be able to tell his story? The author is still able to convey the tension, especially through the eyes of the time traveler. I really love novellas like this, where they're fast moving and give you so much information on the world and the characters in such a short amount of time, but do it in a way where it doesn't feel rushed at all. And I gotta say, this book does that masterfully. The writing style in this book is also really great. Check out this one quote from the book right before the time traveler is about to use his machine for the first time. "I suppose a suicide who holds a pistol to his skull feels much the same wonder at what will come next as I felt then." So that sentence perfectly portrays his emotions in a way that is far more interesting than if the book just said, "Oh, I was very excited and terrified to see what was going to happen next." Really well done. And I know you might be wondering, since this book is so old, does that mean it's hard to understand? And for the most part, I would say, no, it's a fairly easy read, but there were a couple of instances where you get a pretty dense sentence, and you have to kind of read it a couple of times to fully grasp what the author was trying to say. So, for example, this quote from the book: "It was a foolish impulse, but the devil begotten of fear and blind anger was ill curbed and still eager to take advantage of my perplexity." Now, obviously, taking that quote out of context is going to make it more difficult to understand, but essentially it just means that the time traveler is having a pretty bad time and he's not in full control of his behavior. Again, it's writing like that which makes this book so great, in my opinion. Without getting into too many specifics with the story, since I am trying to avoid spoilers, I will say that when the time traveler does go into the future, he discovers that humanity has evolved and now there are two branches of humankind. One lives below the ground in the dark, and one above the ground in the light. And it's not hard to see that this represents inequality and class separation, and how Wells sees this getting worse in the future. But the way it's represented in the story makes it far more interesting than if it was just, laid out plainly for the reader. It really does seem like every aspect of this book was meticulously thought through by Wells, with every sentence important to the story he was trying to tell, with absolutely no fat to trim off. Really quite remarkable. So in conclusion, I very much recommend this book to anyone interested in reading classic literature, time travel, or just fiction books in general. And the best part about this is, even if you don't like the book, it's so short, it's not like you would have wasted a lot of your time anyways. I read through this book in probably just a couple of days and enjoyed every single page of it. And I hope if you read this book too, you will also enjoy it. I'm almost certain you will. Thanks for watching.